March the 26th. Flowering trees and palms. Crab apples can usually be distinguished from cherries by their cracked flaking bark as opposed to the horizontal rows of lenticels across the trunk of cherries. Cherries also tend to have small lumps at the base of their leaf stalks, which are nectaries, whereas crab apples have none. The colours of early crabapple flowers are also often deeper than those of cherries. The deep red flowers typical of late March are often the Japanese crabapple, Malus floribunda. The flowers on pear trees, which usually start about the same time, are among the most attractive of the month. They have creamy white upright bunches of flowers dotted with black anthers. The trunks of pear trees are also often spiral. In gardens, plum, damson and bullace all now come into flower. The bullace or wild plum, Prunus institutia, is worth looking out for. It is distinguished by its small white flowers with white filaments and yellow anthers. The clusters of 2 or 3 flowers in each bunch almost clothe the twig. The edible familiar orange Mirabelle plum is a selected cultivar of this tree and sometimes can be found bordering the edges of fields along the North Downs. Many of the trees in flower last month continue to bloom, particularly in the first half of the month, for example ash, alder, hazel and cornelian cherry. Among the evergreens, the yellow flowers of the bay tree, Laurus nobilis, are now fully open. Some conifers are also now starting to flower. These may be merely coloured tips to the leaves. Cypresses may have red, yellow or purple tips and giant redwoods orange ones. The Monterey cypress, Cupressus macrocarpa, has yellow tips. Lawson cypress, Chemaecyparis lawsonia, red tips, and Nootka cypress, Chemaecyparis nootkaensis, purple ones. One other tree that cannot go unmentioned at this time is the mimosa or wattle, Acacia dealbata. These are now all over London, covered from top to toe in acid yellow pom-pom flowers. They can now be seen 12 metres or more in height. Prior to recent changes in the weather, they were usually killed or held back by frosts while still young. Now they are quickly becoming the leviathans of March flowering trees. The large yellow flowers of the cowhide, Sephora tetaptera, normally seen in April, seems to be making many more appearances in March. 4. With such dramatic flowering trees as magnolias and cherries, the diminutive petal-free flowers of other trees go largely unnoticed. Red Naples, Acer rubrum, still have tiny bunches of lipstick red flowers on completely bare branches. Silver maples, Acer saccharinum, have similar red tufts of flowers but with no petals. The box elder, Acer negundo, has tassels of red male and green female flowers but on separate trees. Both sexes are commonly planted and tend to stand out. By the end of the month, some of the many types of Japanese maples may have already set seed. Small bunches of bright red keys may already be hanging beside their unfurling leaves. Palms. Palm Sunday often falls at the end of March. It is the Christian festival that celebrates Christ's entry into Jerusalem when his followers carried palm leaves to greet him and shouted Hosanna. Palm leaves throughout history have been symbols of glory, immortality, victory, and even martyrdom, which is why we see so many saints holding them in religious paintings. Before 1820, you would have been hard-pressed to find a palm in London. They are really tropical or subtropical plants and only go wild in Europe on its southern edge, and then only one, the dwarf fan palm, Chimaerops humilis. It is common enough in London's gardens along with other favourites such as the windmill palm, Trachycarpus fortunei, the cabbage palm, Cordyline australis, which isn't really a palm, and the occasional stout Canary Island palm, Phoenix canariensis. There are other equally as hardy or hardier palms we see less of. For example, the needle palm, Rapidophyllum hystrix, and the palmetto palm, Sabal palmetto, both of which can survive temperatures of minus 14 degrees centigrade. The latter species is the one we see people holding woven crosses of on Palm Sunday. As temperature continues to rise in London and winters get milder, it is likely we will see many more larger and more varied palms which at present are being protected. often in tubs which are bought indoors in the winter. Those starting to be seen more include the noticeably blue Mexican blue palm, Brahea armata, Washingtonias, for example, Washingtonia filifera with its long silky threads, and the distinctly feather-leaved jelly palm, Butia capitata. Some others, which are starting to be planted more, can reach considerable heights if given the right conditions. For example, the Bolivian mountain coconut, Parajubaya torrelia, and Picabean palm, Archontophoenix Cunninghama, Cunninghamiana, can both grow over 10 meters in height, and various livingstonias and the Chilean wine palm, Jubea chilensis, can soar to 25 meters. Perhaps in time, given all the changes in climate, the mall could eventually look more like the Promenade des Anglais in Nice with its long row of palms.